Let me tell you how this story ends. I don't get the buck. Hell, I don't get the other one either. Both the bucks I hoped to kill in 2024, unbeknownst to me, would be tagged by other hunters. Do I wish I'd known that then? No. Let me explain.
I just love, being able to touch and feel an antler off of a deer that you have seen in the past, that you've hunted, observed, studied. It's very unique being able to watch something from afar and then someday down the road hold a part of that animal. These are the antlers from the buck that I hunted for the last 4 years, a deer we call the Y9. And it was a crazy roller coaster of a ride that ended last year with me finally getting to put my tag on him. But now it's opening day in 2024 and the Y9, is gone. The story's done, and it leaves you in a weird place after having obsessed over finding that deer, getting pictures of that deer, finding that deer's antlers, hunting that deer. And when it all comes to a close, you're really happy, but at the same time, it kind of leaves you wondering, now what? And that's kind of where I'm at now today. A new season's beginning, and I do have other deer to chase, but it's different.
The two bucks on my radar for 2024 were both deer that I'd observed, photographed, and passed on multiple occasions over previous years. Bulldozer, named by my oldest son, was a 5.5-year-old buck with a huge body, a blind eye, and a 3-year history in my hunting area. Bear, named by my youngest son, was maybe even more impressive. Both of these deer were consistent residents in this area for several years in a row, all the way up through early fall of 2024. But just prior to opening day, Bulldozer disappeared, and just days later, so would Bear. But here today, on October 1st, ignorance was bliss.
All right, well, it's opening night, and it feels pretty darn good to be back in a tree, especially with these conditions. So I think there's a pretty decent chance he might pop out here and hopefully give me a shot. I planted this food plot here specifically for these early season and late season opportunities. So this is that same zone that the Y9 used last year. And oftentimes when I was hunting that buck, I was seeing Bear. Bear was all over here. He was kind of the Y9's running mate. So got the Y9 last year, hoping to get Bear now. And this could be the spot. So feeling pretty good about it. Well, as always, got a curveball. The neighbor just walked across his field to sit in a big old tower blind that he put out there about a week ago. It's right on the edge of the stuff I can hunt in his. Like he's, a couple yards off the property line. But the problem is that this wind is the absolute worst possible wind he could hunt that spot. It's blowing straight from him right through the dead center of this bedding area that all these deer are in.
Day 2, and I'm gonna head back in for, keep on wanting to say I'm gonna head back in for the Y9, but I'm not going after the Y9 anymore. I'm going after Bear. He, last night didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but he certainly couldn't roll back through. So I'm gonna head out to a slightly different place, but in the same zone, and give it another shot.
The neighboring property, the farmer planted a cover crop, which he usually doesn't do. So typically these are picked grain fields to the north of me, but this year it's like 20-some acres of effectively a food plot. There's like a 20-acre green food plot now, adjacent to a couple of those spots I can hunt. So different than most years, there's going to be a really strong line of movement from this bedding up to the north. So I'm going to have to adjust to that and observe and see what I need to do to take account of that.
better night, I guess, than night number one, because I saw some deer. Really surprised, not more for buck activity. I did see a really nice, probably a 3-year-old, right at last light. Like a really nice up and comer. So that was good, but that was it. So I think based on this lack of sightings and pretty slow on trail cameras the last 6-7 days, warmer temps coming back, I'm gonna give this at least 7-10 days of a break, and then we'll see what things look like in mid-October. Hopefully better conditions or better intel, something to make a move on.
Fast forward a week or so, and I made the fateful and much needed decision to leave my main properties and hunt a different region where I had intel on a new buck and a game plan to sneak in and hunt inside a standing cornfield. My reward for this pivot was a 30-minute standoff with a great buck, all documented by trail camera, and a hunt I'll never forget. Now, with only one Michigan buck tag left in my pocket, my attention turned back to the cursed pursuit of my original target bucks, the ghosts of Bulldozer and Bear.
All right, it's night number 3. Do another observation sit, but with pretty promising conditions, so should be an interesting night. Have not really been seeing what I would hope to see at this point, you know? The 2 bucks I'm after have been no-shows for quite a while. Bulldozer still hasn't shown up since September. Bear has not been on camera, nor have I seen him on the mornings and evenings I have been able to glass since October 4th, I guess. So it's been, you know, approaching 2 weeks since I have a sign of him. There was a pretty darn nice deer out last night. I was able to glass last night and can see up into this area and saw a buck that's 3 or 4 pretty good deer. I'm undecided, but I guess I'm undecided. Probably wouldn't take them, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Just need to keep stacking these pieces of the puzzle up, putting it together. Right now, I just don't have a lot to work with.
This episode is brought to you by Ram Trucks. Nothing stops Ram.
Hunting this area, I know there are some older deer, or there have been earlier this year at least, and bigger deer. So do you hold out and hope they show back up? Or is that gonna be the best deer that's out here the rest of the year? I don't know.
This would, in fact, end up being the best buck I'd see the whole season, and a buck that returned frequently in daylight over the coming weeks. Knowing what I know now, should I have went after him? Maybe. Maybe not. It's both an agonizing and beautiful reality of deer hunting, that we're forced to make decisions like these, and then live with the consequences. Soon though, I'd get confirmation that the buck I called Bulldozer was still alive, and had reappeared for the first time in nearly 2 months. The hunt was back on.
So as of my plan for tonight, it's to begin searching, hitting the locations I've not been to yet, and get a sense of if these deer are still around. If I can relocate one of them, then it's like game on for those guys. If not, or if this other buck, this new buck, you know, shows up underneath me at 20 yards, it might just be a game time decision, and you know, how he makes me feel, I guess. So that's where I'm at. It's so different than last year. I was so focused last year, and now this year I find myself just waffling back and forth on what do I want to do? What deer do I want to chase? Is that deer even here?
So even though I've been kind of perplexed by why I'm not getting pictures of these 2 bucks I'm after, I gotta keep telling myself that they could still be here. and just for whatever reason aren't hitting those scrapes that I thought they would. Some serious damage there. It's a little bit older, but that's a good buck. Did that.
If you were never going to get the job, or the girl, or the buck, if all the work was destined to be for naught, would you want to know?
I gotta get out of here. It's gonna work. This, for some reason, the wind's just blowing down this creek. I've got photos of Bulldozer coming in on scrape. That's probably 200 yards that way. That means, this morning he was heading back into the zone. So, I know there's a lot of activity around this bedding area, and I'm right on the doorstep.
I left all my stuff up in that tree. I'm gonna sneak back in there early tomorrow morning. It's gonna be cold, I think like low 30s. They should be moving. So yeah, gonna give it another try. I like that spot. There was a couple bucks that did exactly what I want them to do. So hopefully the big guy does it. Bulldozer is in here this morning. Maybe it'll be tomorrow morning too.
100-some yards this way in that little food plot I've got. There was 4 or 5 different bucks all just standing around. And that's usually what you see when there's a hot doe. And then all the satellite bucks are all around her. So I wonder if that might be the situation. That first hot doe has come in to eat. All the bucks are around her. That might explain why we didn't see much last night. That may be why we didn't see much this morning. But this is closer to where those deer were in the camera. Slow morning. Just a handful of does, some of which blew at me, and a couple of bucks. So, disappointing. I'm gonna pull down this set, relocate for the evening, and then after that, we have to bail for a few days and do some other stuff. So, give this area a rest after that.
If tagging your buck every single season was always a foregone conclusion, always just a matter of time, would we cherish it just as much? I'm not so sure. I wondered then, if it's hunts like this, where things frustratingly never go as planned, that make the rare moments of success so very sweet. I wonder if hunts like this are a gift. I haven't seen bear in more than a month now. Bulldozer, I've had a couple videos of him overnight, but no daylight. So, I don't know, still kind of a mystery. But today, I'm punching in deep, right into the core of the bedding because conditions are right, time of year is right, and I have to leave again in a couple days. There's gonna be at least 7, 8, 9 days until I can hunt here again. So even if I mess it up today, there's time for it to cool back down and try again. So that's the long-winded explanation of I'm going in the belly of the beast, gonna try to kill a buck.
I don't know where the heck these bucks are, but I just cannot get out of this year. A little bit of a rodeo this morning. I waited till after daylight to come in here because I didn't want to spook deer off the fields. I don't have a way to access this spot without having to come across the cut bean fields. Biked over here, got to the edge of the cover, realized I didn't have my saddle on. I had to bike all the way back, get to my barn, get to my truck. There's no saddle. Can't find my saddle anywhere. Then all of a sudden it hits me. Yesterday, I hung my saddle up on the rooftop bars of my truck to dry off. I took off yesterday in a rush to go pick up my son from school, and I never took the saddle off the roof bars. So my saddle is off on some backcountry road somewhere. Somebody probably picked it up and is really happy right now. So that sucks.
I would never get another picture of Bear or Bulldozer. I'd never see them coming through the brush or trotting across a field again. But still, despite the mounting frustrations, a little part of me still believed. Every hunt, every scouting trip, every night out glassing, I still had hope. That thrill, that flutter of excitement in my gut, telling me that tonight might be the night. And looking back now, I realize that I hunt for that feeling just as much as anything else. Fruitless or not, I would never want to lose that.
I'm heading out with the family to do a little trip to Chicago for the holidays. And then upon my return, it will be time to get serious about doe management. I'm looking forward to that.
As the general firearm and muzzleloader seasons came to a close, my last desperate attempts to find my target bucks did too. It was time to pivot. It was time to get out with the kids, to invite my friends over, and enjoy the hell out of these last days of the season.
Sounds like someone nearby your show. Did you hear that?
Sounds like Whitetail.
Yep, fire neighbor. Alright, well, hopefully we'll get one soon too.
You came ready.
Oh, you got the knee brace on.
Have fun. Good luck. See you guys after dark. Doe Extravaganza 2025 begins now.
So no, I didn't get the bucks. And no, I don't regret any of it. Not the weeks of work prior to the season, or the late nights studying maps and photos and notes. Not even the long, cold, dawn to dusk hunts I endured after my target bucks had already disappeared. In all honesty, I don't think any of those days were wasted at all. I've heard it said that how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. Simple enough. And all the reminder I need to recognize that days like these, being outside, chasing hope and a dream, make for a very good life indeed.
We got 2 deer. Fine. Nice work. Good shot, Levi.